People say I'm crazy doing what I'm doing, and they give me all kinds of advice to save me from ruin. When I say that I'm okay, well, they look at me kind of strange. Surely you're not happy now. You no longer play the game. Welcome to A Voice. I'm your host, Daniel Norton, and that was the first verse from the song Watching the Wheels by John Lennon. This song is, first of all, amazing. Stop right now and listen to it if you've never heard it. But it's one of those songs that gives us a check, if you will. It lets us say, whoa, hold on. We don't need to always be rushing around. There is value in just watching the wheels go around. One of the lessons I really had to learn in life was that slowing down and stepping back is not failure. In fact, if you don't do that, it's a recipe for eventual burnout and failure. When we're racing along, heading towards that goal that we marked for our 3-year goal or our 5-year goal, and we're not looking at the world all around us, that is where we're failing, especially as artists. Do we want success as far as a career? Maybe some of us. Do we want success as far as people enjoying our work? Probably most of us. But do we want to miss out on the things around us, the joy, the inspiration, because we're so focused on what we're doing? And I think many of us would say no to that, but it happens. It happens a lot. And sometimes it's just great to step back. Step back and let it go by. Take a day away from technology. Take a day away from work. Take a day away from your camera or your brushes or your computer or your social media. And that should be a regular thing. But in addition to that, sometimes we just need to take a vacation from life and work that's not a vacation. Because for many of us, especially if you don't do photography or one of the creative arts for a living, right? You work a job where you generally go in 5 days a week or whatever. When we do have this vacation that we get every year, our month of vacation or multiple weeks or whatever, we tend to jam pack that with a million things that we wanted to do. We go to the Disney World or something and we're there every day and we're first thing in the morning and we're there till it closes, and we go to the restaurants and we see all the shows and whatever. And then 2 or 3 months later, we look at our desk at work and we see a couple of little souvenirs that we bought and we don't barely remember what we saw there. Instead of doing that, do what people used to call a staycation and take a few days off. Take a long weekend. Go for a walk. Get in your car and just drive. Now the gas prices seem to be going down. Hopefully they'll come back up. Go somewhere. Go somewhere you haven't been before. Go to a place that you used to enjoy a long time ago, and for some reason you just haven't been there. Maybe it's a theater that you used to watch old movies in or plays. Maybe it's a farmer's market. Maybe it's just a path that you used to walk on that was near an old job that you had. Go to these places and get away. Turn your phone off. Put a, autoresponder or something if you need to in your email so people don't freak out. But just step back. And what you will learn is the vast majority of things that were an emergency that you had to check every minute will still be fine when you get back. Every once in a while, I will forget my phone, not intentionally, I swear, at my house. And I will go out for the day to do a bunch of things, and I'll realize that it's not with me, and I'll freak out, of course. Oh, no, I don't have my phone. What if something happens? Whatever. But I'm off. I'm away. I'm not near it. So then eventually I get back to it that night. And I look, and after deleting, 10 minutes worth of junk mail that came in, I see 1 or 2 things that are fine. Very rarely, in most of our cases, do we have such emergencies that they need to take every second of our life. We are creating this idea that we cannot step away, that giving ourselves time to breathe, to grow, to read a book, is bad. We're going to miss out on something. When in fact, by just running forward at full pace, you're missing out on a heck of a lot more. People say I'm lazy, dreaming my life away. They give me all kinds of advice to enlighten me. When I say that I'm doing fine, watching shadows on the wall, but don't you miss the big time? You're no longer on the ball. No, I don't. No, I don't. You know, it's funny. I have worked all my life in the photo industry, and there was a period where I was shooting so much fashion. I don't think I've really talked about this here. I was doing catalogs and being pretty successful, and I didn't like it. You know, I felt like all I was doing was repeating the same thing over and over for a paycheck. And I thought to myself, I could do anything and do that. Why am I doing this, which is heavily stressful, heavily risky? You know, at any point I could be broke. Why am I doing it? And it took me a minute to figure it out. And I stepped back and I found the love of photography through my own things that were a waste of time. Why are you working with shooting some portraits? You should be shooting the latest models. Why are you walking around shooting landscapes? Why did you buy a Leica and shoot film? That's so weird. Go buy the latest digital media format camera. But you know, that grounded me and helped me stay in the industry a lot longer. It gave me a place to be that was my own. We are all operating at our own pace. You've probably heard this before. It's super cliche. The race is really only with yourself. And we need to think about how we can grow, how we can move forward. And I'm not saying to just sit back and do nothing. What I'm saying is, you know, don't just sit there and look at your feet, right? But also give yourself time, because to be an artist is not the same as being a bricklayer. No offense to bricklayers, I cannot do it. But meaning that it's not a craft that once you've mastered it, you just kind of do it, repetition over and over again. And sure, ultimately it might build something really beautiful, but it's when it comes down to it, it's the same. Whereas to be an artist, a true artist, is to change, to experiment, to mess with, to create those brick buildings that very well might fall over, or the people might look at it and go, what is that? That is how we grow. That is how we change. That is how we become better. It's not a craft. It's not a career that's just mathematically, you do this, you do these techniques, you move on. It is a lifestyle. It is your being when you're an artist. People asking questions, lost in confusion. Well, I tell them there's no problem, only solution. Well, they shake their heads and they look at me as if I've lost my mind. And I tell them, there's no hurry. I'm just sitting here doing time. Being busy, being active is not necessarily being productive or being creative or growing. We've got to do things to help ourselves stay motivated, of course. Absorb, look around, see, feel, live. But until that motivation, until that real fire burns inside of us, all we're doing is running around circles if we're just creating. We need to flame that desire in ourselves. And sometimes the best way to do that is to step back and just let it happen. If anybody's ever lit a campfire, you probably know what I mean. Sometimes you have that little flame there and just sitting there, waiting for it, letting the slow buildup of the oxygen and the heat light catch fire to the wood that then eventually becomes your campfire. And next thing you know, you're cooking marshmallows. And an hour before, you were thinking you're never going to get this fire lit. This is what it's like being an artist. And if you feel that way, maybe you need to take a step back. Do not feel like you cannot do that. If you keep slamming against a wall that's not breaking down, you will break down. You will burn out. Sometimes take the time watch the wheels go round. Let the world go by. You will be better for it. One of the best ways to support a small podcast like this one is to rate and review it. So if you have not done that already, please do so. Also share it with any friends you might have or on any Discord servers or Twitter or wherever you want to say it. Go ahead and share us around. We want to build the community here. And I have a review from Surivid HD. That is probably not pronounced right, but that's what it says. The best, 5 stars. Daniel Norton is a great photographer, great speaker, teacher. What he says feels like the words coming out of my own mind. I don't know how much sense does that make. It's so easy to listen. Feels like listening to someone who I knew forever. Thank you, Daniel. I listened to all the episodes now and cannot wait for the new ones. Well, that is an amazing compliment. I thank you so much for that. I think we are all similar in some ways. We are all striving to create, to get out into the world what is inside of us. Sometimes to discover what that is first. All the time to discover what that is first. And yeah, and that way we're all the same. So I hope that when we speak with and talk to other artists, we do feel that connection. Because I think that all artists, no matter what the medium, have that burning desire, that connection, that want to share. And no better way to share than to call into the show. Wow, that was a terrible segue. But if you'd like to call into the show or send me an email, my email is avoice@dnphoto.com. I will put a link in the show notes. You could also use the Anchor app. There's a link there in the show notes. You could attach a voice message. If you want to hear your voice on the show, you could just send me an email and I will read the entire email or parts of it and answer it. And yeah, let's keep this conversation going. So thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for the great reviews. Thanks for all the feedback I've been getting. Please do continue to share the podcast. We're growing and we're going to keep on growing. I'll talk to you soon.